Bonsoir. I am Marie-Monique Stackel, and I'm the president of the French Institute Alliance Française in New York. We call it FIAF. This event is part of FIAF's member month. And quite frankly, if you're not a member, you should become one. But it is also a joy to present the French Food and Wine Week. And tonight, it is part of that personally at this week. While we're waiting for people to log in, please tell us where you're sitting, where you're from, and you will have a little poll and you can tell us exactly where you're from. Well, thank you. And it is a pleasure to have so many people on Zoom and Facebook. Join us today for this inside look in Ladurée. We all want to have the behind the scenes of Ladurée. That is something that we all were looking for. And I'm delighted to welcome tonight the CEO, Elisabeth Raberin, CEO of Ladurée in USA, and she will discuss with you the art of making a macaron and the rest of the story, which is more complicated than you think you know. And I remember queuing on Madison Avenue, queuing around the block when she opened the first Ladurée on Madison Avenue. If you've never been there, you should have seen people were absolutely fighting to get in there. Joining her is Florence Fabricant, an old wonderful friend of FIAF. She's a New York Times foods columnist. She is the author of many more books than you ever want to have in your library, a lot of them. And she also can be found on New York Times Cooking. And today, at the front burner, she gave me wonderful, wonderful address for the confinement in which I am in New York City. She also recently wrote, and it's just published because she's sitting in East Hampton, she wrote the Ladies Village Improvement Society Cookbook, Eating and Entertaining in East Hampton. So all of you on Long Island now have to go and get that. It offers menu for the beach and poolside entertaining. She's a true friend of France. I only and always speak French with her. And she went to France early on and she acquired a passion for France. What can we say? A shared passion. And we're delighted to have her with us tonight. During the conversation, you can ask questions to Elisabeth and Florence and send them via Q&A in Zoom or in the comments on if you're watching Facebook. Have a wonderful time. And please welcome Florence and Elisabeth.
Thank you, Marie-Monique.
And hello, everybody. I welcome you all, and I hope you are all well. And we can start with a conversation with Elisabeth. Will take many facets. For example, thinking about Ladurée, I don't know that there is any classic French dish that doesn't have with it a large dose of interesting history. And the macaron, for which Ladurée is famous, world famous, is no exception. So the original Ladurée was created in 1862. It burned down during the Paris Commune uprising, and then was rebuilt as not as a bakery, a bread bakery, which it was originally by Monsieur Ladurée, but it became a pastry shop. You have to know that in France, you have bread bakeries and pastry shops. And they're two different things, unlike here. You don't buy pastry, tarts and cakes and things in a bread bakery. But Monsieur Ladurée turned his bread bakery into a pastry shop when he rebuilt it, and it has been famous ever since. Now, the macaron also has history going back much further, but the idea of taking two macarons and making a sandwich, the original one I think had chocolate in between, was strictly at the Ladurée pastry shop. Can you tell us more about that, Elisabeth?
Yes, sure. Hello, Florence. I would love to precise something. It's actually the wife of Mr. Ladurée, Jeanne Suchard, who has the idea not only to make a pastry shop, but a tea room. And it was one of the first one in Paris. And it was really important because at that time, men used to go to the cafe and women used to meet in les salons. So it was really the first time that in public, women and men could meet together. So it's really a romantic story at Ladurée since the beginning. And yes, of course, the macaron was created in the mid-century. And it was the first time that someone had the idea to take the two shelves and to put together chocolate ganache or vanilla cream. And he has created the macaron.
And it's been popular ever since. When you took over, you and your husband took over Ladurée in 1993, did this sense of history and the history of the macaron, which they say goes back to the Medicis in Italy, when Kathleen de Medici came to France to marry Henry II, she was the one who brought the macaron along with a bunch of other things, supposedly the fork, to France. Does a sense of history affect the way you are running Ladurée, expanding Ladurée, offering new dishes and so forth?
So actually at the beginning, it was more my parents and my brother who took over the Ladurée Paris. I was too young to get married at this time. But so when we took the business, we bought it like 25 years ago. It was only one store in Paris, Rue Royale, and it was only like 4 flavors of macaron. And my oldest brother, David, decided to run the business. And he had this marvelous idea to really manage the brand like a fashion brand. So he created some collection about macaron, and he used to play with season and colors, and the macaron become the very like the top model of the food, because everybody took picture with it. It's super photogenic, so you could see it everywhere, and we can play with the flavor, so it's really good. And yeah, it became very famous.
So how many flavors are there, or have you done?
In total, I think we have more than 200 recipes. And the good thing is it never stops. We always have inspirations. It never stops. We have so many ideas, and we play with flowers, with aromatics. We always have been sweets in our macaron. We never wanted to have some savory recipes. Maybe it could change, but for now it's only a dessert.
Mm-hmm. It's, I think, the ultimate of what you would call in French a péché mignon, a little sin. In other words, something that you can indulge in without really either wrecking your diet or any kind of resolutions you may have made. And I think it's wonderful because you can buy one, you can buy a dozen, you can buy 100 and vary the flavors. What's the most popular flavor?
So it's always the chocolate, vanilla, pistachio, but the rose is also very, very popular. And all the new ones, each time we have a new flavor, it's popular because people, I think, like to have new recipes and to try something new. So the seasonal are always the best stuff also.
Does almost everybody who comes to Ladurée, even people who stay for lunch or dinner, do they all order macaron, or are there other specialties that are just as popular?
No, we have people coming for the Saint-Honoré or éclair au chocolat or the finger sandwiches or the omelette, because we have a full menu at Ladurée. So no, we have we have people coming for different kind of things, but that's cute because when we arrive in America, people call the store before coming to be sure they could pronounce macaron and not macaron. So it was really nice. And even when they come at the store, really often they because the menu is in French and in English, and we see people making the effort to try to speak in French. So that's cute.
Because there is a cookie called a macaron, which is really kind of different from the macaron. But
Yeah,
now,
sorry,
when you first, when you
sorry.
first came to the U.S., did you have a problem with making people understand what the difference was?
So we tried to explain that macaron it's with coconut, macaron it's with almond flour, so it's not the same recipe. But yeah, we still try to educate and to explain. But after they try and they understand what is a macaron. And I have few questions actually about the flavors and how we develop it. So yes, all the macaron has natural flavors. And it's really very important for us to have the best ingredients possible and natural ingredients. And to the inspiration to create flavor, it could be anything. It could be someone we meet, a conversation, a travel, of course, the season, a food I just enjoy. I was in LA like 3 years ago when we opened the store in LA, and I discovered the flower of the passion fruit. Of course, I knew the flavor, but I didn't know the flower. And I thought it was so beautiful that we decided to make the passion fruit macaron for the opening of LA, for example. When I went in India 2 years ago, I had something with rose and cardamom, and it became a macaron last year for Mother's Day. So everything could be an inspiration.
Mm-hmm. Now, you have stores pretty much all over the world, certainly in Tokyo and in various places in Europe and cities in the US, and I think in the Middle East also. Where are the macarons made? Are they made at those shops, or are they all made in Paris?
They made in Paris for France and in Switzerland for the rest of the world. And Asia has his own atelier in Japan.
I see. And what about the chocolate that you do? Where are those made?
Chocolate?
Les pralines.
The praline, it's made in Switzerland. It's where we find the best milk and the best raw material. And the fact to have only few ateliers in the world, it's really to keep the recipe like a secret recipe and to always have the same ingredients. So we are sure that the macaron is always the same one. And so when you close your eyes in New York, you travel in Paris because you really have the flavor of the macaron of Paris.
Has anyone ever tried to steal the recipe?
Of course, they try. we have a book and we share the recipe actually, so it's not a big secret anymore. And now we have pastry class with our chef to train anybody. So it's not a secret anymore.
Now, for example, on Madison Avenue, it's a small shop and tea room, but in Soho in New York, it's much grander and it has a beautiful garden and it has several areas and a retail shop as well. And you have a pretty full menu. Mm-hmm. And also at your locations, some of your locations in Paris, again, there's a pretty full menu for dining, lunch, and dinner. The concept for that, in terms of the sorts of things that you serve, could you talk about that a bit and how you're modernizing those menus as well?
Yeah, of course. So again, Ladure at first was a tea room. So having an omelette at Ladure, a salad, or a chicken and French fries, it's in the story of Ladure since the beginning. And with the opening of Champs-Élysées in Paris and after the restaurant in Middle East, we became more and more restaurants, a little bit more too sophisticated. And when we arrived in the US, I think actually it was too sophisticated, and we came back to something like more like the menu we have at the origin. So really to push the omelette, salad, and we add the avocado toast because we are in America and I think it's very important to have it. And we had few things like this. And it's funny because the inspiration I had in the US. Now Paris takes this inspiration to adapt the menu in France also. So it's really and the raw and the ingredients, of course, we take it's seasonal and it's local. So we really try to adapt the menu about where we are and what we can find.
And what about the vegan menu? That started in California, didn't it?
Exactly. Last year, actually, the vegan menu,
Yes.
it's really an amazing opportunity. For a few months now, we are more and more vegetarian and really working on the healthy menu and everything. And we invite sometimes some chef, and in general, it's more pastry chef. But I heard about Matthew Kinney in California, a very famous vegan chef, and I checked his profile on Instagram, and I really saw these beautiful pictures, and I say, wow, that's very interesting. And I checked his bio, and I like the idea that he was trained as a French chef, and after he became veggie, and after he became vegan. So I really contacted him on Instagram like a teenager. I sent him a DM, and I introduced myself. And this is what I love in America. It's 2 days later, I was taking a coffee with him, and we were shaking hands saying, let's do something together. And I really wanted to do something bigger than only 3 recipes in the menu. So we decided with my brother David, of course, to really switch the store in LA and to have the first Ladurée 100% vegan in the world. So it's really the lab now for the world. And we have the full menu, viennoiserie, pastries, and of course the savory menu, everything is vegan.
It's interesting because I tried a number of the vegan specialties, and I tried them side by side with the regular specialties, and most of them, I wasn't wild about the omelet, but that's not using real eggs. But most of the pastries and those kinds of things, you really cannot tell the difference. It's amazing. It's the same, and they really taste the same.
Thank you. And thank you very much, because you were the first one to speak about it. And I have to say that the fact to put together our chef with their know-how and the Matthew Kinney team with the know-how about vegan, it created like magical. It's really amazing. And even our own chef in Paris, when they tried some of the products, they made the mistake. And yes, that's quite funny. I think the products are very good, and now we have few options in New York, in Paris also. So little by little, we don't want to become vegan everywhere. Only LA will be vegan 100%, and after the idea is to have options, and so everybody could have choice.
Interesting. And is it true that you sell 15,000 macarons every day?
We don't count and we don't share the numbers, but really, I don't know.
I saw that where?
I don't know. We have so many different numbers. No, really, I don't count about it. What I know it's that we try to have people happy and enjoying very good macaron and products.
And for special occasions, like for maybe a wedding or an anniversary or some other kind of party, do people order elaborate macaron pièce montée, that is some kind of big decorations made of macaron? Have you done that sort of thing?
Yeah, so we have the pyramid that most of the people know, but the thing is we can totally customize your own shape. So it could be a number to celebrate a birthday. It could be a different shape. We have Eiffel Tower, we had flag, we had a soccer balloon for a soccer team. We can totally create it and invent everything. When we arrived in New York, our first special order was for MS, and we had to create a panda, a huge panda with vanilla and chocolate macaron, and it was really amazing. And of course, we have all the wedding cakes, everything to celebrate. So we have a very large range of products for celebration also.
And you also do like macaron in little individual boxes as party favors and that kind of thing?
Yeah, we have box of 1, 2, 3, 4 macaron. We can customize the macaron with a logo or something on it. We can customize a box, customize a ribbon. So yeah, we can totally adapt your wish.
Has anyone ever requested a flavor that you haven't done or that you won't do?
Yes, sure. We customize more for corporate than for individual client right now because we need an amount of macaron to do it. But it's something we have in mind. And yeah, sure. Again, there are so many possibilities. It's still open. Yeah.
Yeah, but what's the strangest flavor that somebody may have requested that you make? Or that you wouldn't make?
We have Pharrell Williams. He created 2 flavors. It was only sold at Colette in Paris, and it chose cola and bubblegum. So I think it's and bubblegum, yeah. So I wouldn't have done it. It was funny. I didn't want to sell it in New York. I think it was maybe too American for New York. So I don't know, maybe I should. But when we opened the first store in Madison, I wanted to celebrate the New Yorkers, and we have created a flavor. It was cinnamon and resin, because we thought it was very American and New York. And actually it didn't work at all. All the New Yorkers say, no, thank you, we want the regular and the classical flavors. So after a few months, we decided to sell it in France, and it was a big success. So yeah, maybe we should keep the French flavor for the American market.
Have you ever thought of doing an everything bagel macaron with that bagel spice that they put on everything? No.
No, we really want to try with natural flavors. I know that there is this trend last year with all the rainbow colors and lots of sugar and everything, but I don't think it's Ladurée. I really prefer to be very specific and to play with the aromatics, flower, and really delicate flavors.
And what about in Asia? Are there any special flavors that you do for the Asian stores that are not sold in New York or Paris?
So we had the matcha macaron. It was sold at first in Japan, of course, and now we have it in Paris and soon in New York. We have it in LA in the vegan. So yes, of course, we have some more and more, because at the beginning it was really the same range worldwide, and since few years now we really try to adapt and to celebrate the market and the specific flavors we could find everywhere. So when there is great ideas, we try to take it for sure. And we have the cherry blossom also. It came from Japan at the beginning. Now we have it. Yeah.
And are you going to, once, I imagine that for now, expansion is on hold because of the pandemic, but do you have plans to expand into other countries in the future?
So we just signed India actually this week. So it's a good news during this crisis. So it's a good opportunity to see a new market. But it's true that I think it will be a little bit more slow right now, and we will manage at first the market we have, and we will see little by little.
And if you do sign up India, where? Mumbai would that be, or Delhi, New Delhi?
Delhi at first, and Bombay like the second store.
Mm-hmm. And do you have thoughts of doing special flavors for the Indian market? Because spicy things are, you know, very popular.
Yeah, and I really think that the flavor there are really amazing, and we can play with the spices a lot. So we will have fun in creating a specific range for India.
Yeah, I would look forward to trying those, because I happen to love Indian desserts. Not everybody does, but I do. Yeah, they're very sweet. And so are you opening any more stores in Paris now, or pretty much set with what you've got?
For now, I think we're good in Paris. We are, no, actually, we opened few small stores. We just opened in Le Marais a few months ago, Rue Bretagne and Rue Montorgueil. So instead of having big stores like Champs-Élysées, we try to have small ones in the neighborhood to be closest to the Parisian. So it's something we are doing right now, and we will see after the crisis how it works and what's happening.
But those are more pastry shops, not tea rooms as much, or restaurants. Is that correct?
More retail, yes, exactly.
Free shop. Yeah. So you can go in and buy a gift for somebody or dessert for yourself and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
What about all the competition you have now? I don't know about the rest of the world, but certainly in New York, every time you turn around, even in the Port Authority bus terminal, they're selling macaron.
I know. I know, but you know, everybody is a competitor. A bagel store, a donut store, everybody is a competitor. So we try to keep our DNA, again, to have the best products with the best ingredients and the know-how of our chef. And we try at the same time to really keep the tradition and be very efficient and good, and to innovate in new recipes. And I think that's how it works, and why Ladurée is very successful right now, and since 150 years, and maybe for the next 150 years. So hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, there aren't that many places, even in Paris. I can think of a few that have that kind of history behind them. It's quite wonderful. Because when I lived in Paris, when I was a student, the Ladurée that I knew was the one on Rue Royale. I think that was the only one at that time. And I remember, and I don't know, do you do it here? Do you do the giant chocolate macaron that I can remember from Rue Royale?
The giant, you mean the individual one, like the...
Yeah.
Yes,
The,
we
like,
have it only in Paris, in 6
you do.
flavors. Yeah.
Do you do it in New York?
No, we don't have it in New York. Not yet.
Uh-huh.
We should have it, actually. We should have it. It's
You-
a good. I will call my
And you
chef.
could do you could do one for New York, like a black and white cookie.
Yes, yes, you're right, exactly. It would be a nice one.
That was here. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, that's me, that's a knife and fork macaron
exactly.
with some ice cream on the side. Yeah.
Yeah. We have the ice cream macaron. We have those ones. It's a
Uh-huh.
very, yeah, perfect
Yeah.
for
So how many years have you been in New York now?
10 years.
10 years.
Almost 10 years, and we have about 10 stores. So in New York, LA, Washington, and Miami.
Mm-hmm. Are you
And
planning to add other cities?
not for now. We are more focusing on the digital and the takeaway and all the delivery
Yeah.
service, Uber Eats and caviar and things like this. And so that's our focus right now. And I have a few questions actually about the déconfinement, how we will go back to business and what we will do. So of course we are preparing to open the business very soon. The retail at first, and the restaurant, we will see how we could do it, but we will have some space for the clients. We will respect everything about the hygiene, and we are training our team. We'll have a range of products smaller than usual, and we will deliver a lot and be ready for pickup, even for the savory dishes. So that's how we prepare the reopening of the store, and pushing a lot, of course, the digital. And right now, because it's Mother's Day in a few days, we are quite busy with all the orders. So that's nice. I hope it will be a good site for next week.
And do you ship them?
Yeah, of course, we ship it nationwide. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So no, that's nice.
Yeah. Well, that's good for special occasions and Mother's Day and whatever.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
and I have another question about. I can see Daniel is asking how I separate my personal life and the work life, and I have to say that I cannot separate, because it's all mixed together. I always, my parents used to work together. It's a family business. My dad is still in the business, and my mom also, and my brothers. And now I work with my husband. So the kids naturally are part of the business. And actually it's funny, because during the confinement, they are trying recipes. They are following the videos on the social media that we post with our chef, and they try to do the same. And I think it's in our life. So we never make any separation, actually.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any other questions from the audience?
We have, I cannot really read it. No, I think it was about the deconfinement and yeah, not about everything. I think we answered the questions.
And what is your favorite flavor?
I love the rose macaron.
Really?
Yeah, it's not too sweet. It's very delicate, and we have a new recipe actually because the recipes we used to have sometimes a little bit old-fashioned, and we need to readapt it. And so the rose macaron is a new recipe for a few months now, and the Saint Honoré in the pastry, and it's still a rose flavor, is my favorite also. Yeah,
My favorite is the coffee,
the coffee one is a very good one also. You're right.
followed by the caramel.
Yes, and the coffee ice cream we make is a very good one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm most an ice cream person than a pastry one actually. So I'm very happy that summer is coming and we could enjoy all the ice cream range.
Yeah, and sorbet.
Yeah, and sorbet,
Yeah.
exactly.
I hope soon we can go into the garden.
Oh, me too. Me too. Yeah, it was nice because we had a post last week on social media because we have cherry blossom in the garden and it was blooming and we have all the petals on the floor and someone answer and say every petal is for every people who wants a macaron. So it was really, really cute.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Let me ask you this about Paris in terms of the pandemic. The kinds of rules that you're following here, are they the same rules are you following in Paris and in other cities as well, or is it different from city to city?
For now, so in Paris, we are only allowed to open the retail, not the restaurant yet. So we have the same social distancing to respect, and of course the mask and the gel and everything. So it will be the same thing. For the restaurant, we don't know yet. We are really waiting for all the details. But I think it will be more or less the same thing to really respect an area around every person. And
Yeah.
Yeah, and we are working on the menu to not have a paper menu, but a digital menu, and this kind of small details we need to think about.
Yeah, and you have to use paper napkins that you can throw away.
Yeah, we should, but this is the balance to find between, of course, the rule for the hygiene, and of course, to not waste too much paper, and be eco-responsible. So, yeah, we are working on this.
Yeah, it's very. I mean, there are details that you don't really think about that much, and when you're running a restaurant and trying to keep all of this in mind, it's very complicated and very difficult.
Yeah, there are many details to think about, but that's very interesting because it's a good challenge to think about it.
Yeah, yeah, and the same I would imagine in places like Tokyo.
Yeah. And I have a few questions about the flour we use, for example, for the recipe. This is the question more for the chef than me. But I think it's a regular blend, but it depends of the pastry or the macaron we use. But there is no flavor in the flour, sorry, in the macaron. But I could ask my chef if you have a particular question about it. And Camille is asking which drink is the best to enjoy a macaron. It could be so many things. We have the Royal Cocktail, which is very good because it's champagne with rose and raspberry. And we have the same thing. We have the mocktail, so the same recipe without alcohol. But depending of the time of the day, it could be the Marie Antoinette tea, which has like berries flavor. Could be very nice also.
Yeah, my husband would want the chocolate macaron with a glass of milk.
Ah, yes, of course. It works very well. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, his favorite. Yeah. We've done that.
Yeah, it's a good one, of course. Or a coffee. Everything could work. We have the matcha latte. We have the rose latte with almond milk. And I like to take it with mine, actually. Yeah, that's nice. And I have another question about the seasonal flavors coming. So we have the cherry blossom macaron coming with a new recipe also. And we should have the saffron macaron. It will be, yeah. And that's very interesting because we really have discovered a producer in Paris. It's on the roof of Paris. They cultivate the saffron. So it's really very local, and we should have it. It will be a little bit delayed, but it's a very good one. And it's the first time we have this kind of flavor. So that's nice.
Yeah, yeah. Saffron would be interesting. And that's a sweet one also.
Yeah, exactly. And I have someone asking about the recipe. When I say more modern, what does it mean? For example, the rose macaron, it used to be a buttercream. And we think that now it's a little bit heavy and people don't like so much anymore buttercream. So we adapt the recipes to have more like something lighter with less butter and less sugar. So when I say more modern, it's these kind of things because I think the taste changed a little bit and we work a lot on the sugar also. So that's how we adapt the recipes.
That's interesting that you know, how interesting how well you're adapting as time goes on and tastes change.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and we have young generation, and they are pushing us also in new inspiration and new flavor. So that's nice to listen to the young generation.
Your children ever suggest flavors?
Oh yes, that's very funny because I have twins. And when they come at the store, one is running at the pastry lab to speak with the chef, and the other one is checking in the register if we had a good day. So I think it's very clear that we have a financial one and a maybe future chef. So
Boys or
two boys?
two boys.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and yeah, they write some recipes, and actually we had the white chocolat éclair. And it was an idea of my son. And I like to challenge them. So sometimes they draw a box of macaron or they have a new idea about the flavor. Not everything is okay, but it's really funny. It's nice.
Well, this has been quite a fabulous conversation.
Yeah.
As much as I've enjoyed having lunches with you, I've learned a lot about Ladurée at the same time just this evening. So it's been a real treat. And I really want to thank you for participating. And I want to thank Marie-Monique for setting this up. I think it's a brilliant idea. So, and I want to thank the audience as well.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much, Florence. I have a last question about Mother's Day. So I want to precise that right now you can order an ispaon. We have the customer service open, and you can order online, and you can pick up only in New York and in LA for now. So you can pick up your ispaon or box of macaron in Soho, Madison, or Beverly Hills. And of course, there is always a website open for your orders.
That's great. Okay.
Yeah. We try to celebrate whatever, because Mother's Day is very important. So we need to celebrate it.
Well, thank you, both of you. Now I'm eager to taste the vegan macaron. I never even thought about vegan. And it is interesting for me to think that people are asking about Mother's Day, because I was absolutely going to suggest to everybody that they should taste or send or buy or whatever for Mother's Day, because it's such a wonderful thing. And as you said, 1, 2, 3, the problem, I cannot stop. Anyway, thank you all. Thank you all for joining us today. It was a very special behind the scenes for the macaron, Ladurée and Elisabeth, who is working very hard. And I love the fact that you cannot separate your professional from your personal life, because that's the way I've always thought, that we should be one person and we should not have a sort of a Chinese wall between the two. So to everybody who has been listening to us, join us again on Friday, because we're continuing our French Food and Wine Week. during our members month. And we are Friday at noon, Friday the 8th of May, we will welcome a wonderful Southwestern person who speaks with the best of Southwest accent in French. It's Ariane Daguin, the CEO of D'Artagnan. And Ariane is going to cook for us and host an interactive cooking class featuring one of her favorite recipe, which is magret, duck magret. And she will be joined by journalist Adam Gopnik. Adam Gopnik writes in the New Yorker, and he is apparently a foodie. So we like the fact that he's an intellectual and a foodie. It's good to be both. And the meat that she will prepare will be absolutely delicious. And you can buy it at D'Artagnan in many, many food stores in New York City. And I hope to see all of you again on Friday. Now, as you know, FIAF has been working very hard on these online events. Our team has been working hard and well, and we have, of course, had the brunt of the financial impact on our cancellation of all our events, including our Art de Vivre event in June. And therefore, it was a Giving Tuesday yesterday, but I will make a pitch that on Wednesday it's still good. And if you want to support FIAF and teachers or artists, I would push you to put some Giving Tuesday on Wednesday. Thank you very much. And thank you, the two of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Florence.
Voilà, c'est bien.